Can you believe what you have been seeing on CNN today, ladies and gentlemen? Can you believe it? Supposedly, a CNN reporter found Osama bin Laden, took a television camera crew with him, went into Osama bin Laden's hideout, interviewed him and his top leadership, his top lieutenants and colonels and generals in their hideout. This is a CNN reporter with a camera crew. And he came out and told everybody, within 3 weeks, Osama bin Laden is going to attack the United States and Israel. Now, don't you think that's kind of strange, folks? You see, because the largest intelligence apparatus in the world, with the biggest budget in the history of the world, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years, and can't find him. A reporter from CNN and his little camera crew got into Osama bin Laden's secret hideout and conducted an interview. If you don't believe me, tune into CNN. They're probably running it right now as I'm speaking. And if you believe it, you are one of the stupidest jerks that ever lived on the face of this earth. And whatever is going to happen that they're going to blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you even believe it. When in hell are all you people going to wake up?
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
But first, we consume it every day with the reassurance from our health authorities that it is doing us good. The truth is, fluoride is a poison, and adding it to our drinking water is an evolving social experiment started 40 years ago. Now one of the world's top fluoride experts has issued a grim warning about what it could be doing to our health, and that of unborn children. Yet as Frank Pengello reports, you'll get a different spin from dentists and health bureaucrats.
We consider that as a poison. Why should a poison be in drinking water?
The poison is fluoride. It's there because government health bureaucrats and dentists tell us it's for our common good, for reducing tooth decay, and at levels which won't harm you. That doesn't wash with Professor A.K. Shashila.
They should realise it's the poisonous substance. It doesn't promote health. It is a disease-causing agent, and fluoridation should be stopped as early as possible.
Professor Shashila is one of the world's leading experts on fluoride. Her own extensive research, along with 70 years of data in India, backs up what she's saying, and it's most disturbing.
I would consider a pregnant mother taking fluoride-contaminated products, I'm using the word products, which includes water, toothpaste, black tea, processed food products which has fluoride.
Any liquid?
Anything. Where her urinary fluoride is high, she is going to cause a lot of damage to the fetus, the growing embryo, the infant which is going to be born.
The American Dental Association warns against using fluoridated water to mix baby formula. Not so here.
They don't read, they are not aware, they don't update themselves, they don't do any research. So we are in a serious problem.
Professor Shashila says exposure to fluoride could also be the cause of many ills like neck, shoulder and joint pains, which may be misdiagnosed by doctors. She routinely does urine tests to check fluoride levels in her patients.
Remove the fluoride ingestion starting from toothpaste, black tea, fluoridated water, whatever, and you bring down the urinary fluoride to normal limits, the patient recovers.
Fluoride is also used as a preservative and also lurks in many products we consume. But apart from toothpaste, it's not listed on labels.
So it is coming into one's body through many sources, and you are not aware of it.
The fluoride that goes into our drinking water is toxic waste from the production of fertiliser.
For maybe 100 years, the phosphate fertilizer industry put out two very, very poisonous gases into the environment, hydrogen fluoride and silicon tetrafluoride. Eventually, they were required to capture those, and they did it with a wet spray, water, and that water converts these two very toxic gases into hexafluorosilicic acid. And it's this scrubbing liquor, which is about 25% strong, is put into tanker trucks, driven around the country, and added to our drinking water.
Here's what's in the mix made in Australia, a sickening cocktail of heavy metals like arsenic, barium, beryllium, cadmium, lead, mercury, and on it goes, and in much higher concentrations than is allowed for lead and arsenic.
Why should you make people drink a poisoned water?
Well, it's forced medication for the masses, and there are more than 1,000 doctors and scientists around the world who, like Professor Shashila, condemn what's going on.
The problem with adding medicine to water is an obvious one of consent, that people can't give their informed consent, which is a basic of medical ethics.
Fluoride is about to be added to Mount Gambier's water from the Blue Lake. Alex Young is livid. He's collected a petition of more than 6,000 signatures against the move, or a quarter of the town, which has been ignored by the state government.
The issue of fluoridation has largely been ignored by the government, in not terms they want to push it, but in terms of allowing the community to have a say in the matter, which is they simply just ignore us. And I am, and the rest of the group here, are just amazed at the level of ignorance shown on this matter.
We wanted to talk to someone in SA Health about the issue. Instead, we got a written statement which didn't address our questions directly. It claims Mount Gambier children have 78% more tooth decay than those in Adelaide who drink fluoridated water. and that it's considered safe and used in other developed countries like the USA, UK and Canada. Well, there aren't many more on that list, as anti-fluoride campaigner Professor Paul Conant points out.
Most European countries do not fluoridate. Austria, Belgium, the Netherlands, France, Germany, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Italy, Greece, Portugal. The overwhelming number of countries in the world do not fluoridate, and guess what? Their teeth are just as good, if not better, than ours.
It aggravates dental decay. The tooth gets pitted, perforated, it gets chipped off, it breaks, and also at a much younger age, the people will become edentulous, means they will lose their teeth.
The anti-fluoride movement says while there's ample evidence to support what they're saying, governments still refuse to listen or fund research to study the impact it has on health.
The real culprit here is these bureaucrats who are spinning the information before it gets to the decision makers. And that's what's outrageous. We expect, I think, politicians to spin, but we shouldn't expect civil servants to spin.
A mistake.
Yes, of course.
A few months ago, I understood suddenly how thought was just an illusory thing, and how thought is responsible for, if not all, most of the suffering we experience. And then I suddenly felt like I was looking at these thoughts from another perspective, and I wondered, who is it that's aware that I'm thinking? And suddenly I was thrown into this expansive, amazing feeling of freedom from myself, from my problems. I saw that I was bigger than what I do. I was bigger than my body. I was everything and everyone. I was no longer a fragment of the universe. I was the universe. And ever since that day, I've been trying to get back there. It comes and it goes. It's like riding a wave. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off. But at least I know where I want to go. And that I want to take as many people with me as I possibly can, because the feeling is amazing. I'm amazed when people go like, the world is insane, man. It's crazy. It's out of control. It's like people are completely nuts. Like that. Seriously, we live on a planet where we're very crammed together, and I think we do really well. It's just that when we watch the news and we watch entertainment, it's about people's conflicts tied together in the most exciting possible way. And you imagine that the world is this explosive, horrifying place, and the news is all this negativity condensed. And it really is not representative of what the world is or what the world wants.
You used the most powerful hallucinogen known to man, DMT?
Well, everybody's used that, really, because your brain makes it.
Yeah,
your own brain makes it while you're asleep. While you're in heavy REM sleep, everyone's brain produces way more than the effective dose. So what that means is, if you take the drug, like if it's chemically synthesized from a plant, and you take it, the amount you need to take is not nearly as much as your brain produces while you're in REM sleep. What I describe it as, it's like complex geometric patterns that are made out of love. Like, you go literally to another dimension. The crazy thing is that everybody does it every night while you sleep. Nobody ever thinks about why you sleep. Like, what you do is, when you sleep, is you shut off. You shut off and you just accept it, because we do it every night. But 8 hours of your day is somewhere you don't understand, you don't know about. You don't know what it is. You just go blank, and then you wake up and it's over. But you're going through an intense psychedelic trip during that whole time. And the same thing as, when you wake up from a dream, you can't remember it. Like, this crazy dream, and it seems so real. And then 5 minutes later, you don't even know what the hell you were talking about. You don't remember the dream. That's exactly what happens when you smoke DMT. When you take this drug, you have these insane visions, and then you could barely remember it just a few minutes later. And it's because your conscious brain is trying to protect you from this experience, because it's so mind-blowing. What it literally is, it's not scary, because it's exactly the same thing that happens to you when you die. But this is what happens to you when you die. I mean, this is the chemical that your brain produces, and it's produced by a part of your brain called the pineal gland, and literally it's your third eye. It's literally in the center of your brain, where the third eye is, and it actually, in reptiles, it has a retina and a cornea and a lens. And they've done all these scientific studies on it. They did a bunch of clinical trials at the University of New Mexico. They did a book on it called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. And what this is literally like a portal to the afterlife. It allows you to sneak a peek over there and come back. It's mind-blowing. The crazy thing is, they've known about this since like 1960. If you saw a movie and there was a substance in this movie that existed in every single ecosystem, it's in plants and it's everywhere. It's in grass. You take Phalaris grass and you extract it, you get DMT from it. Literally. I mean, it's in more plants than it's not in. And if there was a drug that allowed you, if you smoked it, you could literally see God. Literally have a communication with pure wisdom. Wouldn't you think that everybody would have heard about that? Yeah. Could you think that you could keep something like that under wraps for like 40, 50 years? This is what should be legal. All plants. All plants should be legal. Because they don't make strychnine illegal. Strychnine exists in Strychnus vomosus or something like that. There's a bunch of different plants that produce strychnine. And they're legal plants. You can buy them and you can make strychnine. You know why? It's not about something that kills you. It's about something that you won't be able to absorb propaganda the way you do now. You won't be able to look at the news the way you do now. You won't be able to look at common cultural conditioning and predetermined patterns of behavior. None of that stuff will make sense. It's very difficult to go through life after you've gone through that experience.
Okay.
The way I describe it, it's like any intense psychedelic experience is like pressing Control-Alt-Delete on your brain. Yeah. That's what it's like. It's like your brain reboot. It should freak you out. It does freak me out. But it freaks you out because you like to be in control. Yeah. But you're not in control, bitch. You're gonna die. No one's in control. You're in control of your body for a short period of time, and you should experiment with it.
rabbi during the first part of this first century called Joshua or Jesus. He had nothing at all to do with the crucified Christos of Paul's theology. Thus had no part to play in the formation of that distinctive amalgam of faiths that eventually swept the world. I believe that the innocent collection of tales and sayings, which was apparently allowed to pass freely among the beleaguered self-believers, in hourly danger of discovery and execution, was but a cover story. From that highly improbable account of a gentle rabbi, friend of little children, Roman tax collectors, and ladies with gynecological problems, could be distilled by skilled interpreters, well versed in the art of rabbinic exegesis, as well as the abracadabra of Gnostic mysticism. Secret passwords and sayings, the formulae for medicaments and hallucinatory drugs, the therapia in practice and prescription, which had earned them their reputation and name of Asaya Essenes, physicians.
Psilocybin type mushrooms. And so in that one picture alone, it's telling you that Jesus was the mushroom.
Mushrooms is somebody, they immediately think portobellos or magic mushrooms, their eyes glaze over and they think I'm a little crazy. So I hope to pierce that prejudice forever with this group. We call it mycophobia, the irrational fear of the unknown when it comes to fungi. Mushrooms are very fast in their growth, day 21, day 23, day 25. Mushrooms produce strong antibiotics. In fact, we're more closely related to fungi than we are to any other kingdom. A group of 20 eukaryotic microbiologists published a paper 2 years ago erecting Opisthokonta, a super kingdom that joins Animalia and fungi together. We share in common the same pathogens. Fungi don't like to rot from bacteria, and so our best antibiotics come from fungi.
I'm sorry. But I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
This is preeminently the time to speak the truth, the whole truth, frankly and boldly.
Nor need we shrink from honestly facing conditions in our country today. This great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive and will prosper. So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed effort to convert retreat into advance.
Hitler has often protested that his plans for conquest do not extend across the Atlantic Ocean, but his submarines and radars prove otherwise. So does the entire design of his new world order. For example, I have in my possession a secret map made in Germany by Hitler's government, by the planners of the new world order.